I've touched every kind of disease. I mean, literally, every kind of disease. Every part of the human body has been healed. Every kind of disease has been healed. At this point, I personally have seen 9 come back from the dead. In our ministry, people we've taught, we see it about once a month. So we get some testimony. I can give you some just recently. Now, again, some of you believe, some of you don't. I don't care either way. All I'm saying is, if you want to learn, we can prove. We have a proven track record we can teach you. We get testimonies all the time. People I've never met, I didn't lay hands on them, I didn't give a impartation of an anointing, I didn't get any of that kind of stuff. They just heard it on the internet, went out and did it, it works. Why? Because it's Bible. It's that simple. So God has made it for the 4 types of people. Any person can get healed no matter where you are. And you don't have to reach a certain spiritual level or a certain level of faith to get healed. Right? And you have to realize this. Again, this is one of those questions, and we'll get to it a little bit later on in depth. But the amount of faith is never the question. Ever. Okay? There's never a degree of faith. People say, well, what if I don't have enough faith? Okay, that is impossible unless you don't have faith at all. You either have faith or you don't. Right? It's kind of like being pregnant. Either is or you ain't. Right? You either have, listen, you're either a believer or you're not. If you're a believer, you have faith. If you didn't have faith, you couldn't have got saved. If you got enough faith to get saved, which is the greatest miracle, then of course you got enough faith for everything else.
Amen.
Isn't that simple? So it's never been a question of, do I have enough faith? Here's the question. See, if you look at faith, it's not how much faith. Jesus said, if you have faith the size of a grain of mustard seed, you can move a mountain. Right? So we know it's not the amount of faith that ever matters. It's not the amount of faith, it's the kind of faith. You say, what do we mean kind of faith? What are the different kinds? Oh yeah, there's dead faith. Right? That's faith without works. That's faith that you say you have faith, but you never do anything, and you never produce anything for God, no fruit for God at all. But now, see, there are different kinds of faith. But the kind of faith Jesus mentioned had nothing to do with volume. It had to do with persistence. So it's a kind of faith, not volume, a kind of faith. Do you have a faith that endures to the end? That's what counts. And if you have faith, then you can have weak faith. What is weak faith? Weak faith is faith that goes for a while and then finally drops off. All of these can be found in Mark chapter 4. Every one of them. You hear the word, you receive it gladly, you start to run with it, and then the sun comes out and the heat's on, and all of a sudden now you fall by the wayside. Right? Or you have the enemy come like birds, fowls of the air, and pick this word out of you. How does he do that? Well, the enemy comes immediately to steal the word that was sown in your heart. So if you hear a message on healing, what's the fastest way that the enemy can probably get you to decide it's not true? Get you sick. That's usually the best way you can do it. If he can get you sick after you've heard about healing, usually you'll say, well, I guess that stuff must not be true. And what has that done? The fowl has just picked that seed up and taken it away from you. What counts is what you understand. That's why this whole teaching, listen, you don't have to understand everything here. You don't have to get it all, right? What I'm doing is I'm giving you in 3 days what I've learned in 30 years. I do not expect you to get every detail of it. Right? That's why we talk with some people that have heard the DHT and listened to it 8, 10, 12, 15 times. And every time they hear it, they get a little more from it. They get a little more from it. And it becomes a little more real to them, a little more alive. But you don't have to get it all. You just have to know a couple of things. And that's real simple. Number one, I think I even have them written here. Yep, 2 things on page 3, if you have named it. 2 things. Is healing always God's will? And number 2, did God command Moses to heal the sick? That's all you have to know. That means you don't have to know every doctrine, every detail, all this stuff. You know, what we do, the reason we teach you most of these things during these 3 days is because here's what will happen. Okay? I'll give you 2 examples. I have a pastor friend, and I pastor myself now. I pastor a church. But I have a pastor friend that went to Guyana. He went down to work with some other pastors that were there. He'd been there a couple of days, been teaching, and finally they were doing the healing service on the last night. And he said, I want to show you how anybody can do this, and how it's God's will to use believers. So he called the pastor's daughter up, who was 12 years old. And he said, come forward. And when she did, he said, now, I assume you're a Christian. She said, no. He said, you're not a Christian? She said, no. He said, well, you believe in Jesus? She said, yeah. He said, well, but you've never been born again? She said, no. He said, why not? He said, nobody ever asked me. 12-year-old. What does that tell us? We need to take care of our own household also, and not just assume that they get it because they're around it. So he said, well, do you want to get born again? She said, yeah. So he led her to Christ. Right then, got born again. Bam. Then, within 2 minutes after getting born again, he says, now, put your hand on this person. Say this. And told her exactly what to say. And he told her, now say it like you mean it. And she got strong with it and commanded their body to be healed. And the person was healed instantly. The girl she was 12 years old, hadn't been born again more than 2 minutes. And God was using her to heal the sick. Now, if she can do that, God can use her to do that. He can certainly use us if we can get our stupid traditions out of the way. Now, the reason I teach all of these details is because as you go, and so the reason I'm saying this is because I can tell you right now exactly what to do, what to say, and how to do it, and we can all go home after the second session. But what's going to happen is, and this is why we teach these details, is because as you go, you're going to run into people that have these sacred cows. Or you're going to run into people and you have these sacred cows that haven't been killed, and as you start to minister, these sacred cows are going to come up and they're going to stop you, slow you down, or cause you to back off. And so what we do, since we have you here, we take the 3 days to just teach you what these sacred cows are and to destroy them so that whenever you leave here, this is my goal for you, because this is what God has, number one, it's what He has absolutely ordained us to do, and the proof of that is in the fruit of the ministry. But my goal is to get you to a place that when you leave here, nothing, no one, no doctrine, no devil, I was going to say no religious church person, but that falls in the category of the devil. So we'll just keep it that way. So, but none of those things will be able to stop you. You get that? Because I'm telling you, this is the answer. When John Lake when he had his healing home and his healing rooms, and they had 100,000 people healed in a 5-year period, he wrote a letter. And you know what he said in that letter? They were seeing healings every day. Miracles confirmed. And he said the hardest thing that he has had to overcome was to find